Hello and welcome to autoportal.com, the car buying website that helps you buy better. Well, mid-sized car buyers in India have never had a better time than this. We already compared the Maruti Ciaz and the Honda City, which are class leaders, but we've also now decided to compare the Ford Fiesta standing right here besides me, as well as the VW Vento. But which one should you put your money on? We'll find out on the show today. Well, both these car makers have taken two completely different routes when it comes to modifying their look of their cars. While the Ford Fiesta has taken a much more dramatic look now, with that Aston Martin-like grille up front, the VW Vento has been subtly modified with new bumpers, headlamps, as well as slightly modified tail lamps. The overall effect, of course, is that the Fiesta really does stand out in a sea of mid-sizes, while the Vento continues to look classy and premium, just like before. Well, in terms of cabin quality, the Ford Fiesta doesn't really stand a chance against the VW Vento because the plastic quality really isn't that good, and because it's a grey and black cabin, it doesn't feel as upmarket as the one on the Vento. But that said, it's a very stylish place to be. It's a very sporty looking cabin, and even though there's a clutter of buttons over here and can get confusing for initial users, once you get used to it, this system, the Ford Sync system, really works well, and it's very intuitive to use in the long run. Another plus point inside the Fiesta's front seats is the fact that the seats themselves are very comfortable, and these contours at the end really do hold you in and really do bolster you quite well, and that really means that when you are pushing this car into that corner, this seat will hold you in its position. So great car if you are an enthusiast driver in the front seats. Well, so here I am inside the front seats of the new VW Vento, and the biggest change in this car now is, of course, this new steering wheel. It's the same one which the Polo also has. It's a flat bottom steering wheel and really good to grip. In terms of quality, it's a very upmarket and premium cabin. All the materials used are really first rate, and there's very little to fault with this cabin in terms of material quality. It's a very intuitive cabin to use as well. Everything falls easily at hand, and the radio controls and the AC controls as well are very easy and intuitive to operate. And if you really want to improve the comfort inside this car when you are driving, you can of course pull this armrest and sit like the boss when you are driving. This armrest also has a small compartment where you can keep your iPhone at, so that's even better for practicality. Where the VW Vento also excels is in the comfort department. These seats are very comfortable, and they've got a big and spacious squab. It's a long squab as well as wide, which means that even people who are a little heavy in terms of the weight will find them reasonably accommodating. Well, in terms of cabin ambience, it's really hard to beat the VW Vento, and this really is the best car in terms of cabin quality. It really does feel like a very posh and premium place to be in, and that's largely due to the fact that the seat materials as well as the overall upholstery inside the car is really top rate and very hard to fault with. Well, in terms of the overall room inside this car, as you can see, knee room is more than adequate, and you can of course stretch your feet at below the front seats as well. Headroom is decent too, but if you want more knee room at the back, if you really want to stretch out in the back seat of the VW Vento and really enjoy being chauffeur driven, then all you need to do is pull this lever over here and push these seats all the way up front, if there's nobody sitting in them of course, and stretch out and enjoy yourself and really feel like the boss. Well, so here I am in the back seat of the Ford Fiesta now, and as you can see, headroom is just about decent. Knee room is also just about adequate, considering that I have adjusted the front seat for my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10". So there's no AC vent also at the back, and there are no door bins to keep any bottles in, and that means that the VW Vento clearly has the edge over the Fiesta in the rear seat department. Ford really have made it one of the most practical cars in this segment by offering you a very spacious and well-shaped boot. As you can see, it's a very square boot. What that means, you can load in that big box of luggage or that big suitcase, and it's also a very deep boot. It goes all the way to the back of the backrest, and that really makes it one of the best and most usable boots in this segment. Well, let's have a look at the boot space now of the VW Vento. Well, as you can see, it's a really nice and spacious boot. Officially it's 454 liters, which is a little more than what the Ford Fiesta offers, and it's also pretty well shaped, and it's a pretty deep boot, goes all the way to the backrest of the back seats, and it's a pretty wide boot as well. What that means is that if you are someone who enjoys playing golf, you can really load in that golf bag without any fuss. So good boot, and a better boot than the Fiesta for sure. Well, so here I am driving the Fiesta, and I have to say this is one of the few cars which really is very impressive to drive. It's just as impressive in terms of driving as it is in terms of its styling. Well, this 1.5 litre diesel develops about 90 bhp, and the good part is, of course, that it starts responding from the low ends of its rev band, which really makes it a very tractable and easy to motor car inside the city limits. Well, this engine's mid-range is really powerful, and what that means is that from around 2000 to around 4000 RPM, it really has a power pack of performance to deliver. All you need to do is just throw it one gear lower, and this car is willing to accelerate and overtake that slow-moving vehicle up ahead. Well, if you're a keen driver who really does enjoy driving a car, then this Fiesta will really put a smile on your face, because the steering is very, very agile, it's really communicative, and the car really does change direction with a lot of urgency. There's a sense of urgency and immediacy about it. Where it also excels is the fact that when you push it into a corner, it doesn't really roll too much, and that gives you a lot of confidence. And the grip from the tires is very good as well, and that really adds to the driver involvement and overall stability when you are pushing it on the highway. Well, where the Fiesta also really does impress and scores top marks in is in the gearbox department. This is one of the most slickest units around, and in fact you will just be changing gears for the heck of it because it's so enjoyable. You'll just be changing it all day long to have a very enjoyable experience. Well, not only is it very, very pliant and very comfortable in the city, even on the highway when you are pushing it and doing speeds in excess of 100 kph, it feels very reassuring and offers a very, very stable and very, very confidence inspiring ride. And really, this is one car which you can really push on that highway and not feel nervous at all. Well, so here I am driving the new VW Vento, and this of course is the diesel version of the car that we're driving today. VW have really improved the refinement of this engine even further. Well, this is a very punchy motor. It's got a lot of power in the mid-range, and what that means is that all you have to do is keep this car around 2000 RPM, and between 2000 and 4000 RPM there's a surge of torque. That really is a torque engine in that mid-range, and that really does propel this car further. Well, even though it's a light and pretty accurate steering, it simply cannot match the Fiesta when it comes to driver involvement. It doesn't feel as keen to change directions, and it's also not as feelsome as the Fiesta steering wheel. The Vento's steering has a bit of a woolly feel to it around the dead center position, and that really does rob away from the driver involvement in this car. Well, another area where the Vento simply cannot match the Fiesta is in the dynamic chassis department. The Fiesta's chassis feels a lot more dynamic than this car does, and when you push it around corners it feels okay, but there is a lot of body roll, and there's visible body roll, and that means that you have to step back a bit and take it easy when you are throwing it around corners. Well, where this 1.5 TDI engine really excels is in refinement. In fact, when you are cruising at about 100, 110, it's very difficult to tell if it's a petrol engine or a diesel engine powering this car, and in fact passengers in the back seat will really not be able to tell that it's a diesel. Well, so in the overall analysis, both these cars come across as solidly engineered products, and honestly speaking, you cannot go wrong with either one of them. But that said, the big difference between these cars is in the front and the backseat department. Well, if you are someone who truly enjoys driving your car yourself, then you will love spending time in the front seats of the Ford Fiesta. Well, but if you are someone who prefers to be chauffeur-driven in the city and really doesn't enjoy driving in chock-a-block city traffic, then the VW Vento is certainly for you. It offers a very premium ride and a very plush cabin, and honestly speaking, you just cannot go wrong with either one of these two cars. Well, and if you want to know more about these two cars and their rivals, head to our website autopolo.com. If you are in the market for a mid-size car, you can also check out our Honda City and Maruti Ciaz comparison by clicking on this link below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on this link above. It's bye for now, and hope to see you soon.